1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Second down, 13. At the 45 of Baltimore. Brunell back in the pocket. Has a bit of time. Now being chased. Plants throws. He's looking downfield. He's got a receiver. And it is caught. Jimmy Smith at the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. He beats Dwayne Starks for 45 yards.
Barks out the signals. Drops to throw. Has time. Fires the slant. Jimmy's got it this time. 35, 30. Middle of the field. 20. He's going to the 20-yard line. He's going to score. 10, 5. Jimmy Smith. Touchdown. And the Jaguars are right back in this ball game. Barks out the signals. Pressure coming. Steps up. Steps. Turns. Throws. He's got Jimmy. First down, 20. There he goes. 10, 5. Touchdown. Win. Jacksonville. Done under pressure. Steps to avoid. Turns and throws. He's got him in. Caught Jimmy. Inside the 40-yard line to the 37 and down at the 36.
Congratulations to Jimmy Smith. That is now his 800th career reception, and what a play to get it on.
This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, and
Hold my pocket.
Dylan Denmark.
We'll get that right one of these times there, Pockets. Rabbit, for those who celebrate. First day of the second half of the year. Good morning, D-Rock. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Good to be here. I miss being in the studio.
Do you?
I do, actually. Yeah, I enjoy doing this show.
You are
with
here
guys.
on your vacation.
Today's first day of my vacation if we count Saturday and Sunday as traditional off days.
Yes. Off days, right.
Yes.
When, are you going to Turks and Caicos like Hayes Carline?
No, actually. We are, this one's a staycation this year. So we've got some stuff around the house that I'm going to do.
Right on.
And maybe a couple of rounds of golf and some fishing.
Bro, last time I saw the golf course, it was with you. And I haven't seen it in a while since then because those nasty kidney stones. But what are you going to do?
I'm sorry to hear that.
I got to force my way back out there here, man. I'm using it as an excuse too much at this point in time. But
sometimes those extended breaks from golf are actually good for you.
Sometimes.
And then you show back up and you shoot like 85.
You're hitting it pure, right?
Yeah, and you're like, why is this happening?
You got all the bad swing thoughts out of your head, right?
Maybe.
That's the way it went. Dylan Denmark, good morning. How are you?
Mike.
Mixing up the Open today.
Yeah,
going
a little old school. Why
Jimmy
not?
Smith. Yeah. That one's classic. That's got staying power. Can always use that. How was beach day for Mr. Denmark?
It was
yesterday?
good. We got cornhole dubs yesterday. Got a little injury, man. A little rotation.
This guy, hey, D-Rock, like D-Rock and I are middle-aged people, right? We're not old, I wouldn't say quite yet.
No, not yet.
There are days we feel old, but there are days we don't, right?
Correct.
Dylan's young. Right?
Correct.
No excuse. He's got a cornhole injury. He's got some kind of knot in his back from too much repetitive cornhole motion, apparently.
I came in this one. I'm like, why is my shoulder hurt? And I'm thinking, I didn't do anything over the weekend. Like, I did this, I did that. I'm like, dude, I played cornhole for like 2 hours. That shouldn't make my shoulder hurt. And I'm like,
not when you're in your mid-20s, buddy.
No.
Yeah,
I'm just playing.
Believe this is the beginning of his injury-prone era.
Maybe it is. You never know. I mean, look, E.T. is in here this morning with the boot on. It's hard for anybody to complain when he's at work with a torn Achilles. So there's that. Although I'll complain anyway.
Every once in a while, I sprain a pinky.
Do you? It
typing.
bothers you a little bit?
You just have no idea.
Your typing hand, man.
These are the money makers right here,
hey,
these
bro,
10 things.
You do great work over there at ESPN.com. We're going to get into all the offseason storylines, and they are abundant, certainly, here in a moment. I just happened to see this tweet a moment ago from a friend of mine, a former boss of mine, Steve Cohen, who for the longest time ran all of SiriusXM sports programming. He ran NFL radio. He ran fantasy sports radio. He ran a bunch of stuff. And he tweeted out on this day 37 years ago, he was lucky enough to be part of the team that created and launched the first all-sports radio station, WFAN, up in New York. So that was, I guess, 87 is when it launched back then. I want to say 9:30 here in Jacksonville was like the 9th the 9th or the 11th. It was like one of the first 10 all sports stations. It just wasn't a format that many people took to. And D-Rock, without the birth of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm quite positive there'd be no 1010XL. There would not be, all these other sports radio stations in Jacksonville that have risen and fallen over the years. It's the way it is. The NFL drives the train in a big way. And, I'm glad Steve Cohen got that done, and the crew got that done. He wasn't the only one back in the day.
So you're telling me that if the Jaguars weren't here, there'd be no Jaguars Today show?
I think there would not. I think there would not. Maybe, you know what? We'd be tracking, where might Travis Kelce land? He wants to play for a team in London. Did you see that little blurb over the weekend? He quickly kind of backtracked. He's like, look, I'm only going to play for the Chiefs. But I get maybe the idea, like, you wonder who would want to play in London. Like, if you're coming out of college, man, it's like, you've never known anything but being here in the States. Now you got to deal with all this travel, all the taxes, all the different things that come with it. But I guess for veterans on the back end of their career, to play like 2 years abroad, it might be kind of fun, from that standpoint. But
maybe. I would think it would be more the young single guys that are coming.
So, huh?
Yeah, because like the veterans, okay, you're probably not moving the family with you over, if you got little kids, so maybe, now you're away from, so what are you flying every two? A lot of these guys here, their family might be, say, in California. So on like Monday night, or Monday afternoon after they get dismissed, they go fly home, spend Monday, most of Tuesday, fly back Tuesday night. You ain't doing that if you're
that's
from
true.
London.
Maybe you would move. Like it'd be, people study abroad for a year.
Do.
There's nothing wrong. You could move look, if you're that level of athlete, you got the wherewithal financially to move the fam if you want to do that. Here's the thing about it. It's not happening anytime soon. And the funny thing is, D-Rock, it never was, because all these guys now, all these national writers coming out and saying, well,
backpedal.
London was never really a viable alternative. Well, where were you for the last decade plus, on this whole subject matter?
It was illogical. Not the Jags moving to London. Just having a franchise in London. It was illogical. For all the reasons we've all talked about. It never made sense. And the league kept it going. Let's be honest. The league encouraged all that speculation, encouraged the, thought of eventually a franchise in London. And now, a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 franchises in London. It will never, ever work.
I don't know if it'll never work, but it was never close to working, right? And it's certainly not to have one standalone team like you're talking about now. And there's no obvious suitor to come after now. So what's the next city that gets utilized? Is it St. Louis? Like bring football back to St. Louis? Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Chiefs, right? Because initially, the state of Missouri didn't want to put any money into a new stadium because the Royals deal is tied into it. And so Kansas is stepping in, and you wonder, well, where in Kansas might this go? Right? And does it go to St. Louis in Missouri? Does it move from Kansas City? Does it go to Kansas City, Kansas? It's hard to know. But what will be the next kind of lure that they dangle in front of some struggling local market? Or maybe we won't see that for a while, at least until expansion rolls around again with the National Football League when it eventually does.
I would guess... St. Louis is the popular one, but I don't know that that's really viable just because of the league having to pay out the people in St. Louis.
Maybe not.
You know what I mean? I'm not sure the league would be willing to go back there.
What about San Antonio? That gets mentioned from time to time.
Yeah, but if you're Jerry Jones, do you want another Texas team, another team in Texas? And
how long is Jerry Jones going to live?
Well, maybe forever.
Maybe.
When you're that rich.
Well, true. He may be 119 right now.
Yeah,
we don't know.
We really don't know. But I would, maybe Oakland. And I know that sounds weird, but,
historical precedent.
Yeah, there's a little bit there. And there was, let's be honest, the ownership groups that were there with the A's and the Raiders, that is not like Robert Kraft ownership group money.
No.
You know what I mean? So there's potential. If you've got somebody that's willing to invest over there, And I think the city of Oakland would welcome another NFL team, but the problem you run into there is would Oakland welcome the Oakland Chiefs, or doesn't it have to be a team named the Raiders? You know what I mean?
Maybe, right?
You know what I mean?
That could be it, right?
So
it could
then,
be only
and then
an
now you got all
team.
kinds. Yeah, then you got all kinds of other stuff.
And does San Francisco fight against that now, because they've got the whole Bay Area to themselves now, right?
They do.
So, I mean, look.
It is weird.
You know whose problem it's not? Ours. It's not our problem anymore to worry about, other than just from an intellectual exercise, which is kind of nice. So
it's really funny. I was sitting next to Mark Long from Associated Press at the council meeting, and I've been at a city council meeting way too many times over the last 6 weeks, which is twice, and that is more than enough.
Okay.
Now I'm reminded why I went into sports writing sitting at the council meeting. But I looked over at Mark, and I was like, hey, we got jobs, which we were worried. If there's no team here, there's no reason for me here.
Hey,
I mean,
self-interest is a big part of this.
Yeah, no kidding. It really is for a lot of people.
Look, bro, I've said it last week. Said it many times since the whole deal came together. If Wayne Weaver doesn't put his foot down and have it happen, I remember the day that it was announced that the Jags would get the team, right? And I was not in the sports vein yet. And had they not gotten the team, probably never would have been in that vein, because there wouldn't have been those kind of local opportunities to do that. And then to be able to cover an NFL team on a regular basis and in your own backyard. And now to know, for guys like us, Jags in Jacksonville going to outlive our working lives, right? So that's fantastic.
Hopefully, yes.
Right. Our working lives, right? And, well, anyway, we'll get to all the details of that. We're going to recap how the stadium deal came together, how the contract extensions came together, what the Jags need to do. We got anything Jaguar-related is fair game today with Mike DiRocco from ESPN in studio here with us. D-Rock is our Thursday regular co-host throughout the season. So he will certainly be reprising that role this year as well. Today, wow, I'm a little surprised at this one and the early returns on this. If you really look at some of the productivity of the last couple of years, we're asking, assuming Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker have the two highest sack totals for the Jags in 2024, who will have the third most, right? Who's the next man up as far as that goes? And we gave you the options of Eric Armstead, right, coming in, but who, by the way, last 2 years, I think he had 5 sacks last year, and in 9 games the previous season, didn't have a single one with San Francisco. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't create for other people. They had Nick Bosa, and there's a ripple effect with all this. I think a lot of people are looking at Eric Armstead coming in and being the 2024 version of Calais Campbell. The difference was Calais went from being a big end in a 3-4 to finally being unleashed as a pass rushing end in a 4-3, right? And he had never had that opportunity. Armstead's not going to play primarily on the outside.
No,
but anyway,
he's more inside. Yes.
Totally, right? So, but we got Armstead. We got Trevis Gibson, who right now would be your, you would think your first guy off the bench when you go to a sub-package type situation. Devin Lloyd, because everyone is always expecting this to be the year that Devin Lloyd breaks out, and it may be, right? It may, in fact, be.
And he will rush from that spot.
Yeah, and Ryan Nielsen bringing in a more aggressively oriented defense. Or is it somebody else? Dylan, who won this poll last year?
Yasir Abdullah.
Oh, Yasir.
The legend.
The outcome of this poll is not necessarily reflective of reality, but right now Eric Armstead is blowing away the competition. It may be him. I'm not saying it can't be him. I'm just surprised at the percentage of people that are so convinced that Armstead will be number 3 on the list. So today, that's your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. If you just want to vote one click on the poll, you're welcome to do that. If you want to be a part of the conversation today, we can take it in just about any direction you like here with D-Rock in studio, including his observations from the offseason with OTAs and mini camps and all that stuff. You can get on board at 641-1010 on the All Pro Roofing phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up on social media. And that would be at MD_1010XL, at ESPN DiRocco, or at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
I'm going down a White Claw or 10. I'll tell you. We were at the ballpark.
All about that sugar, baby.
Should have seen his eyes, man. We were at the baseball grounds last week. I'll always call it the baseball grounds, but at least for a while. It takes me years to catch up. 1-to-1 financial ballpark. Gotcha. All right. But so we went.
Okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't begrudge 1-to-1. They were a sponsor of mine at one point. So nothing against those guys whatsoever. I'm just an old guy set in his ways. I called CBSSports.com Sportsline for many years after they made the switch over. That's why I guess everyone should just stick to ESPN.com, right? It's easy.
Makes sense.
It's memorable. It's got the best reporting of anyone in the business right there. I think we'd all agree on that. So anyway, I think you know the ways you can be part of the program. Today we'll talk about the third pass rusher, but we'll go through the offseason that has been with Mike DiRocco. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
2 hours spent on two things, your Jags and the rest of the NFL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. He's 1010XL's radio road grader, Leon Searcy. 2 to 4 weekdays on 1010XL.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res. You and I know Zero Res loves cleaning carpets in your home. But did you know Zero Res can also clean the carpets where you work? Take a look at the floors where you work, and if they need cleaning, suggest to the boss they call Zero Res. For the month of July, Zero Res offering 20% off all commercial carpet cleaning. Call Zero Res, and they'll come out and give you a free estimate on what it will take to get the job done. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward. Zero Res, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
American Electrical is looking for bright minds and hard workers to help light up North Florida. This community continues to grow, and now you can grow your career with a company that will make sure you succeed through commitment. American Electrical even has its own academy dedicated to training select students in the electrical trade, and the best news, it's free of charge. Log on to American-Electrical.com to find out more. They're leading the way in electrical contractors on the First Coast. American-Electrical.com.
What's more American than grilling out for the 4th of July? Check out southernsteerbutcher.com or our social media channels for all of our 4th of July specials running June 29th through July 7th.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right, Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit dreamfindershomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Make sure your roof is ready for the next Florida storm by scheduling a free roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to $1,250 on your roof replacement, plus flexible financing up to 15 years. Offer expires July 31st. Restrictions apply. Call 1-855-ROOF-HELP or click universalroof.com.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
All right, gang, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Me, myself, I am Beaches Dermatology. Want you to wear the sunscreen, man. It's summertime in the Sunshine State, which is great, but you got to wear the screen. You're going golfing, you're going out boating, you're going to the beach. 4th of July is almost here. When you're packing that bag for the festivities, bring the screen. And by the way, any concerns on your body right now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Nick in here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of About 9. Visit About 9 Associates today and experience the difference. About 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
How did this become your theme song on this show? I don't even remember.
I think I hummed a little bit of it.
Is that what it was?
That little line there, and then you guys were like, "Oh, he made a mistake. We shall make him pay for that mistake for the rest of his life."
This is one of the great 80s songs, in my opinion, of all time, if you like 80s music, you know? So.
Yeah, it's also one of my, The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler.
Oh, is it in that one?
Yeah, and Steve Buscemi, I think, at the end is singing this song too, and it sounds exactly like you would expect Steve Buscemi to sound singing this song. So whenever I hear that, I always think of that movie.
Spandau Ballet.
Spandau Ballet.
Can't beat it. All right. Hey, tomorrow, you're welcome because you're part of the fam. Okay?
Oh, okay.
You're invited. I know it's vacation and you got things to do, and I doubt you're trekking across back to 1010XL World Headquarters for a second consecutive day.
What's in it for me?
Food. Okay?
Oh, well, then here we go.
Doom is coming, and in a good way. We're talking about Duval Doom. He is our designated chef for Jaguars Today. And we've got...
What is he chefing?
He's chefing burgers, okay? We've got a burger category, a rib category, a sides category.
Okay.
We always like to do these kind of holiday cook-off competitions, right? And in this case, we were asked to solicit somebody, a listener, who would represent each show in whatever category that they were selected for. So we're burgers. Doom tells me yesterday, I said, look, I'm going to check tomorrow, make sure, because we're not taking this lightly, okay?
Nor should you.
We want to, Doom wants to impress with the food, which I have no doubt that he will. Because, he's one of these guys, he's got like his own secret blend of
herbs and spices.
Herbs and spices in the patties.
He's like the Colonel.
He will not tell you. Right. He's exactly like the Colonel. He's got his own secret blend. And we just like to compete. And I like food, right? I like beef, right? Who doesn't love a
little red meat?
I'm a red meat aficionado. There's no question about it. But Doom, I said, look, I'm going to check with the powers that be and find out when you need to. Because all you have to really do is cook for 3 judges. And if you want to make anything extra, you're welcome to. Doom goes, I'm making 30 burgers.
That's my guy.
I'm like, bro, we don't have 30 people at the station that will be there. He goes, I'll be prepared. So if you want seconds, there'll be enough to go around.
Yes.
Or ninths. I may bring some aluminum foil and or a little Tupperware and bring some home to the fam. But I'm excited because he's excited. And his plan. Now, Doom was in Georgia now.
Yes.
And he's on vacation this week. So he's taking one of his vacation days to come down and show us how he gets it on at the pregame tailgate, right? And this is a part of it. I think he's even got like sous chefs that are coming with him, okay? I kid you not.
That does not surprise me a bit.
We said you can have access. We're going to have a grill that we give you access to, or you can pre-cook your food and heat it up in a microwave. He just laughed. He's like,
what? That doesn't make sense.
He goes, I'm bringing my grill. I'm bringing my whole setup. I plan on being there at 9:30 tomorrow morning. I mean, Tuesday morning, now tomorrow morning. So everybody else better not be playing around because we are going to dominate this competition. I look forward to this.
Doom's going to be mad at me, but like I love my steaks medium rare. But I got to have my hamburgers well done. I'm sorry, Doom.
There was a time where I had a narrow esophagus.
Look, he will cook
What?
He'll cook it to order for you because he's the same. I brought this up. He posted a picture of some steak that was bleeding, still mooing. And I'm like, bro, I don't know about all that. And he's like, no, burgers are different. And he gets it, right? So I don't know if he's going well done, but, I bet if you were to show up, he would leave one on there a little extra for you.
Because Doom's a good dude.
He is.
Despite his reputation on Twitter, he's a great dude.
At times, he's a good dude. And he knows that because he's like me. Like I see a lot of me in him, right? So I can say that because I know there are times I'm a horrible person, right? That's just
we can all be, yes.
Facts, okay? And Doom, rides the emotional roller coaster, but a lot of that just is sports fandom, and that's a beautiful thing. And he's passionate about his team, and he's also passionate about the burger.
Have you blocked Doom at one time or another?
I did.
I think I
blocked
did.
him.
I did too.
And you brought him back?
I did bring him back. Absolutely.
So did I. How many people have you ever brought back?
He legitimately is the only one.
I brought back 2, and he was the first. So it's something about him, right? Something about him, A, that makes you go, I don't want to see another thing you have to say. Okay? There's that. And then B, all right, I'm probably a little bit over the top here. You're a good guy, and your heart's in the right. He is a great guy.
And he's
a
fan, man. He's the people we need.
He has co-hosted with Tony and I this show at least 7 times. Seriously. Back in the day, when we were down at the stadium back in the day, because we don't want to bring him around anyone else at 1010XL.
So we're just talking about how great of a guy he is, and he's like, there will be no pink in the burgers. See,
no pink in the burgers.
He's a beautiful man. He's a beautiful man.
He's taking care of you right there.
He's a beautiful man. I have to show up tomorrow now, don't I?
All right. You don't, but I would love to have you. We really would.
What time does the food eating begin?
You see, that's the key. Right? D-Rock's like, I ain't getting here at 9:30 now. Come on. My best guess right now, based on what I've been told, is 11:30. Is like when the official judging will take place. But
who are the judges?
Don't know, honestly. This is a Mia O'Brien production, so I did volunteer because oftentimes we're asked, do you want to be a judge for the Thanksgiving cook-off or this cook-off or whatever cook-off? And I've never done it, but this time I said, yeah, July 4th barbecue. Heck yeah, I'll try all those ribs and all those burgers and all those sides and all that delicious stuff. So tomorrow, by the way, just to preempt it's a slow news day. Yeah, it is a slow news day, okay? It's freaking July, okay? Tomorrow's top 5 is going to be top 5 must-have food items at your July 4th barbecue. So just so you know, baked beans, high on the list for me. That's got to be the number one barbecue side. For me.
For you.
For me. Everyone's got their own list. You can contribute the way you see fit. All right, D-Rock, let me ask an important question here on the Jaguar track. So people know this is what the show is actually about. It's not barbecue today. The Jags, everything. I saw Dan Hicken interviewing Mark Lamping last night on TV. I caught part of it anyway. And Dan said something along the lines of, hey, you got any good anecdotes? Like, now that everything has come together, was there ever a kind of a hairy point? Because it seems like everything was just so smooth, right? Or if it wasn't, both sides, nobody was leaking anything, right? That's key, right? Like there was no animosity. There's no like, look at what the Jaguars expect or look at what the city expects, all right? It was, let's keep our mouths shut. Let's come to an agreement. And they did. And then, boom, the city council passes it with flying colors. So the only thing left is for the NFL owners to approve this. And I asked you before we came on today, what is your confidence level that this is going to sail past ownership's vote in October? What would you say?
Yeah, originally I was said, when we were first talking, I was like 85%. And then I'm like, no, that's not right. There's this, the Jaguars have kept the NFL abreast of all of this stuff going on. Okay, so it's not like they're going to walk up there and drop off a piece of paper and they're going to go, here, figure it out. The NFL knows. Now, are there some questions? Yeah, there's going to be some questions that they're going to have. Maybe, I would assume, about the percentage split and how that's going to look, because if you're the league, you don't want Shad paying 50%. You don't want Shad paying more than 50%. It sets a bad precedent with those small market teams in the future. But also, there's the understanding that Florida is not like Nashville or Tennessee and New York, where they can get some state money to help
Correct.
build those stadiums.
Right.
That's an important distinction that people need to keep in their head.
And explain that, because those states have like funds to entice or continue to promote these kind of things happening. Like in Tennessee, there's a state fund that kicks in money.
Correct.
We don't have that here in the state of Florida.
No, we do not. And there actually was some money before in a sort of a fund for that at the state level, but they've gotten that completely thrown out, to be honest. I mean, there's a very, very strong move among the legislators over the last, however many years, decade, 15, 20 years, however long, maybe even more than that they don't want that. They don't want state money used for sporting arenas and stuff like that. So that's an important distinction, and the league will understand that. And it's now like a 55-45 split in terms of what the Jags, the city's paying 55, the Jags are paying 45. If you factor in some land that the city gave the Jaguars over there on the river, that can even bump it up a little further.
And that's important too, right?
60. I don't know the exact numbers, 58, 59%, and then the Jags, whatever that would be, 44, 43, 42% around there.
Because Shad Khan has development opportunities.
Correct.
That not every team owner would automatically have simply going into a stadium agreement with a local municipality.
Correct. And he has the ability to, look, he's going to, if everything goes the way everyone believes it can downtown, the city he'll make some money off that. The city's going to make some money off of that development as well in terms of taxes and all that other stuff. So there's going to be the numbers that we probably look at and see are not going to be the numbers that get presented to the NFL because of some of those kind of things there. So again, the league has been kept abreast of this. Roger Goodell has been kept in the loop, or at least some of his minions have. In September, they're going to present it to, the Stadium Committee and the Finance Committee. Mark Lamping's going to, make a little presentation there. And then in October, it's interesting. It's in Atlanta, and it's the week between the two London games. So Shad's going to have to fly back, attend the meeting, which is, I think it's at a hotel in Atlanta, and then jump on the plane and fly back, to London, where I believe the yacht's going to be, the new yacht's going to be. And if it's approved, that's going to be a hell of a party.
Oh, my gosh.
It's going to be crazy.
So you initially said you were like 85%.
I'm about 95% now. And the more I think about it,
Our confidence, and we said, we were talking about this, and our confidence comes from Shad Khan and Mark Lamping's confidence, right? That they know, as Mark said last week, and they probably said this many times since, this whole process went on, we know what the questions are going to be.
Correct.
And we know that we're in pretty good position to answer those questions. And then you come down to, what's the alternative at this point in time, right? And now tweaking the numbers, massaging the numbers a little bit, but, in terms of, okay, NFL owners, you blow this up. Now what, right? It's become very clear in the last few weeks, there's no plan to put a team in London on a full-time basis. So this is probably, in terms of what actual owner of the team wants and the city wants, this is as smooth a process as I think we've seen anywhere around the National Football League, or at least practically around the National Football League, except for, the super rich guy, like a guy like Kroenke, who's going to just build a $9 billion stadium or whatever the heck he built out there in Los Angeles.
Which he now owns and operates.
Right, which he owns and profits from.
Correct.
Right, so
the city owns. I guess I was talking to a council person after the meeting, just briefly, and they were saying they were surprised at the number of people that they have encountered that did not know that the city owns the stadium, and I that's the world we live in.
Right.
We know all that, but I guess it surprised me a little bit. Because that stadium's been here
well before Shad Khan
the Jags
and the Jags.
So Shad didn't own it back in 1978. You know what I mean?
And never has at any point since.
And when you factor that he's put a lot of his money into the stadium that he does not own to help with upkeep and renovations.
Which also helps with his bottom line.
Absolutely, without question.
It's not just a gift.
But he could have said, no, I'm not doing that. You guys do it. It's your stadium. So that was just a little bit of a surprise to me that people did not know that the city owned the stadium. But I can't imagine this process, unless there's something that's going to come out 10 years from now to where we know, like, there was a brawl in the mayor's office one day, which would be kind of awesome in one way.
Who cares?
Right. You know, it went as smoothly as I would have. I never would have thought it would have been this smooth.
Right.
And it was done in a way that doesn't raise taxes. There's no new tax. Taxes aren't going up. The Better Jacksonville plan is staying in place. That tax was always going to be paid. So to be able to do it and do that, that's a major win for the city, for the taxpayers. Look, it's costing a lot of money. And the bottom line is, if you want to be in the NFL, this is how it goes. It's the cost of membership. It's the cost of being a city with an NFL franchise. Sometimes you got to pay out of the pocket.
If that's important
if that is important to you. And clearly it's important to this city.
To this regime, certainly.
Without question.
This mayor's office, this city council, 14-1, with a couple of its abstentions. That's as sweeping of a landslide as you'll see on anything that has any kind of political anything to the vote in today's world. So,
right. I never thought it would be unanimous. I thought it might be there might be some more opposition.
Pretty damn close.
But it was pretty close. And let's be honest. In the past, since the first, they announced that they had agreement, it's like former mayors are coming out and saying, yes, we should do
great deal. Great deal.
Former city council people are coming out saying the Chamber of Commerce got together and said, do the deal. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of public pressure by a lot of current and former officials to get this done and approve this. So I probably was a little less optimistic that it would be
just
the landslide. People. I know, just the landslide that it was. We
went from 85 to 95 in an hour.
We've all been in Jacksonville for a long time. We all know how this city kind of operates and how stuff happens here. You know what I mean? So there was probably a little bit of that going on in my head before the vote. But 14-1, I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better.
All right, let's shelve that for now because we know where we stand on all that. Let's get to the on-field product with the Jacksonville Jaguars and some of the moves they've made this offseason, what they could still do to improve themselves. In fact, we were looking this morning at Pro Football Network did a piece with basically 5 reasons for increased optimism for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Nice to see. Other than Mike DiRocco and John Shipley, seeing some national reporting that's positive, and you guys are in the backyard, so nice to see something outside the little hub with some positivity, and we'll go through that coming up as well. Mike DiRocco's in if you want to be a part of the conversation. 641-1010, the easiest way to do it. Dylan Denmark's here. I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Yeah, we got a big cookout tomorrow. I'm not afraid. Awaken 180, I've got cheat days worked into my schedule. I am just grooving with Awaken 180 right now. I am in a great place, probably the best place I've been in terms of my weight and my health in decades, and a large percentage of the credit does go to Awaken 180 because I had that last 25, 26 sticky pounds to lose, and they helped me do it with ease throughout the month of September. I'm talking about last year in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, into July, and all that weight has remained off. And that's been the case for everyone I know personally who has tried Awaken 180. You eat to lose weight, and then you get great coaching and support for life once you hit your goal weight. And all that support comes absolutely free. You can be the next success story. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180, or schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Everything you need to know about your Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. No static ever. Download the free 1010XL app for Apple and Android devices and take us with you wherever you go. 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
If you're an experienced, skilled plumber or welder that's MedGas certified and you're tired of working for a company that just doesn't treat you right, Local 234 is the place for you. Their pay is the best in the business. You'll walk away with $35.09 an hour in your pocket. With benefits, that's just over $50 an hour. Local 234 has been around since 1901, and that means something. Visit UA234.com to send your resume. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Sometimes the most important position in sports needs a translator.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Clearwater.
John, I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks.
Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up.
So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. Waterboyjas.com.
Hey, David here with Royal Pest Services. Men, are you struggling in the bedroom? Do spiders and roaches have you scared? Visit RoyalPestServices.com and let us help you get that man card back. Guaranteed results on our first visit.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike DeRocco in studio here with us. Expect D-Rock back for another award-winning run on Thursdays throughout the NFL regular season, which is really just a way to deliver the breakfast bowl to the masses. That's really what Thursday is about. That's really what this program is about.
I won an award for that?
Tony did.
Award
I think
winning.
Tony did.
Well, you said award-winning.
I didn't say you won it.
Oh.
The award-winning breakfast bowl.
Oh, okay. The
Not
award-winning
the award-winning Mike DeRocco. If I did, I misspoke. Unless is there anything happening?
I didn't mean to say you were
Is there
good.
anything happening on the awards front that I need to be aware of?
No, not that I know of.
All right.
Clearly, not that I know of.
Let's get to some on-field stuff because let's take advantage of this. One thing, just kind of going back, and we'll hit some of the big stories, but Parker Washington is a guy that apparently caught your eye because there was a piece that you guys did at ESPN.com about kind of maybe a surprise standout throughout OTAs, mini camps, and all that stuff. D-Rock, you're looking at Christian Kirk, who, when healthy, is locked into a very significant role here. Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. in some capacity are going to be your 2 and 3, you would expect.
Those are the top 3 without question, yes.
Without question, right? Does Parker Washington have a chance to be the 4th most productive receiver, or is this like a Devin Duvernay, or is this just a really wide-open question at this point in time?
Yeah. I tend to think, when you factor in Evan Ingram, which you kind of have to when you're talking about that, just because of how they use him and where they're going to use him, I just don't know that Parker Washington's going to get a ton of reps. Now, if you're concerned about easing some of the workload on Christian Kirk, then maybe I can see a little bit of work there for him. But, Duvernay is I didn't realize he was as fast as he is, but I think Heath Farwell told us that at one point during this offseason, he was clocked at 23 miles an hour. And that is flying.
That's like the fastest you'll find of anyone. When they say this guy had the fastest speed of anybody in the National Football League, it's usually around 22 miles an hour.
Right. Now, look, Brian Thomas Jr. ran 4.33 at the combine, so that's some flying too.
Gabe Davis has averaged huge yards per catch throughout his career, so he's a proven deep threat.
Right. I think, it's going to be hard for him. I think he makes the roster, no question, because, say what you will, Christian Kirk is getting a little bit older, and we saw what happened last year when he went out. Now that part of that was Parker Washington really wasn't ready.
Right.
He was not 100% sure what he was supposed to do. But you saw the talent flashes, including that catch in the back of the end zone. And you're like, well, this guy's got a chance, and he's the eventual replacement for Christian Kirk.
And this team has to develop some young, cheap talent.
At every position.
Right.
Really, because you're getting to the point now, okay, you paid Josh, you paid Trevor, you're probably going to have to pay Trayvon soon. If Anton continues to play the way they think he will, then you're going to have to pay Anton.
You're a few years away from that one.
You are a few years away from that, but the bottom line is you have to start getting a lot of production out of those guys you're drafting in the middle and late rounds, because you're going to be salary cap, not tight, but if you look, you can't pay everybody. You know what I mean? And you're going to pay the pass rushers.
Right.
And if Brian Thomas Jr. turns out to be a big-time number 1, then you're going to have to end up paying him. So you need some of those younger guys. You need to be able to start developing those younger guys because they can't continue to live in free agency either.
But they've and Shad Khan
mentioned
that last
week.
week.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
He said that last week.
And, he talked about a lot of, we hadn't heard from him for most of the offseason, right?
2 years, I think.
Right. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
So for him to come out and he talked about organizational failure, the way they collapsed, and we can't live in free agency. I mean, seems like he's becoming more of a, I don't know, proactive or hands-on is the exact right word, but a guy with whose football acumen is catching up to the power that he's always wielded as the owner of the franchise.
Yes. And I actually asked him about that a little bit because he talked about, way back in 2018, he felt like he needed to get more involved and he needed to be a little bit more hands-on-y, I guess is the right phrase. they were in salary cap, getting ready to go into salary cap issues after all those big free agent contracts.
But that's they're in really good salary cap shape.
They are really good now, but that's when it kind of started for him, and he started to kind of get a better feel for what you have to do to run an NFL franchise and to be a good owner. And I said, well, does that take a decade? And guys like the Ursays who have been in it the whole time.
Right, grew up in it. No. By the time they're ready to take over in some capacity, those guys sort of have an idea about what's going on. So you would think that would mean, even though Tony is involved in Fulham and AEW, he's around it enough to know. His learning curve is not going to be very steep.
No, it should not be whenever he takes over, when Shad decides to step away. But
Shad's going to turn 74 here coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah, he looks not 74.
He does. He's fantastic. I hope he lives many, many years. No,
right,
seriously.
exactly,
right? Nobody's trying to say anything like that. But, we all start to reach an age where we're like,
I don't want to get up and do this anymore.
Or I want it to if it's going to happen, I want to be able to enjoy it.
Correct.
Right? And so when he made the comment about organizational failure, right? And I understand what he's saying, right? Like, you can't not find a way to win a second game out of those last 6 when you're sitting there in the catbird seat for the number 1 seed, and then to have it all just kind of blow away. Who feels the most pressure from that comment? Is it Doug Peterson? Is it Trent Baalke? Is it a combination? Or is it just a statement of fact?
I don't know that I'd call it an organizational failure, because there are some other factors that went into it.
He called it that.
He did, and that's what we're going to go with. But the injuries happen, and he mentioned it. He's like, injuries happen. But I think the guys behind the frontline guys clearly weren't ready to contribute at a level where they had to. They were kind of like Parker Washington, thrust into that role. He missed a bunch of games early in the season because of a knee. Or I think it was the first snap he was in, he hurts his knee. Then he comes back. He's not 100% sure where he's supposed to be.
But who is that on? Is that on those circumstances, or is that on the coaching staff for not having him up to speed?
I think it's on both. But again, you talk to these guys all the time, and they'll tell you, we can drill it into these guys' heads, and it can work on the practice field. But until they get those game reps, it's not the same. Nothing compares to the game reps. So it's a factor of or a function of the circumstances. Both having to be in that role and not having been on the field before, to gain that game experience. It's on the injuries to along the offensive line. It's on Cam being suspended for 4 games. And then Walker Little's out there with a bad hamstring, and Parker's not in the spot he's supposed to be. Trevor clutches, can't throw it, and boom, there's the ankle. It's on all kinds of things like that. So I guess if you want to look at it in the totality of it, I guess I can understand why I called it organizational failure. But there has been a lot of talk in the offseason. Trent Baalke talked about the onboarding process, which is essentially meaning getting those young guys up to speed that you drafted and getting them ready to contribute. They don't all have to be guys that are Rookie of the Year candidates, but they need to be guys that if they're thrust into a role, they're not going to kill you.
Like Mason Smith needs to be able to play significant football.
If Roy goes down, then and Mason Smith's got to step into that starting role. He needs to be at the point where he understands what he's doing, and he's going to make some rookie mistakes. You can live with that, but he needs to know what he's doing, and he needs to be able to give you solid reps most of the time. Same thing with last year, Parker Washington needed to be at a point where he understood where he was supposed to be. And it's not easy. We say that, but man, he's coming from a college offense. He's coming to an NFL offense. Then he goes and hurts his knee, and he doesn't get any practice reps because all he's doing is rehabbing. And then all of a sudden, Christian Kirk rips a groin, and it's like, Parker, you're up. And,
go be Christian Kirk.
It's not easy. So, there were a lot of factors as to what happened at the end of last season, which we've talked about all the time. But the bottom line is, I don't think Doug Peterson's on the hot seat, but I think there's a little bit of pressure on him just to, hey, let's get these young guys going. Let's make sure that everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Let's make sure this defense doesn't fall apart in the last half of the season. Let's make sure these guys know where they're supposed to be on defense, and let's go ahead and win a game that we had every chance to win against a backup quarterback. And oh, by the way, the kicker that you signed, the long-range guy, misses a very makeable 43, 44-yard field goal. If he had, it's not fair to put on McManus. He nails that field goal. They beat the Bengals. It's
right,
over.
And then they win the division.
And
for
they
the
win
second
the division.
straight year.
And we're probably not talking about organizational failures. You know, Kirk's probably back for that first playoff game. You know what I mean?
But you know what? Like, you go back to the year before, and if Riley Patterson misses that field goal,
100%,
right?
then
it's a completely different offseason.
Correct.
It's not about Trevor had the ability to bring him back from this massive hole that he dug. It's more about he dug a hole that they couldn't climb out of.
Correct.
You know, so it really is the outcome matters, right? The process is one thing, but in the end, who wins, who loses, that's the ultimate, arbiter of your success. I mean, it sounds obvious, but it isn't always. One thing that Shad Khan did in terms of specific pressure stood out to me last week. We got a break coming up right now. We'll talk about it when we come back as it deals with this team coming up. 641-1010 if you want to join the conversation. We'll also take a look at the 5 reasons why Pro Football Network thinks the Jags fans should have more hope and more optimism heading into 2024, which we don't always see out there from a national perspective. Mike Dempsey, Mike DeRocco, and Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
True Teal. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, I know if you give me time, baby, we can do whatever we want. Look past left prong. Oh, ready?
I'm David Garrard on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best products and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll-and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
The following people are under the influence of no air conditioning.
Oh, man.
Is it ever hot? I can't get up. My legs are stuck to the chair.
Can guys go through menopause?
Why?
I think I'm having a hot flash.
Don't let no AC happen to you. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, available 24 hours a day, and they'll fix it right the first time. When your AC system needs a repair, it's time to call Duck Duck Air, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
Mystic Cornhole Company builds the best high-quality custom boards right here in Jax. Perfect for weddings, tailgating, your business, a day at the beach, and a great gift idea for you-know-who. See their designs at mysticcornholecompany.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC, Zero Res.
What's more American than grilling out for the 4th of July? Check out southernsteerbutcher.com or our social media channels for all of our 4th of July specials running June 29th through July 7th.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Southern Oak Insurance. Florida men's basketball is in the middle of getting next season's schedule in place, and it looks like the season opener will be on November 4th against the South Florida Bulls at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, according to Swamp 24/7. Although it's still early and with the stadium issue passed, the Jags are looking to possibilities for 2027, says team president Mark Lamping.
It's going to be some combination involving Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida Field in Gainesville, and perhaps London.
Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, despite holding 3 separate leads, fell to the Nashville Sound on Sunday afternoon. Jacksonville and Charlotte start their series this evening. First pitch is at 7:05 from 1-1 Financial Ballpark. In Major League Baseball play, the Rays defeated the Washington Nationals. The Marlins lost to the Philadelphia Phillies. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11 o'clock, it's 85 degrees. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, D-Rock in the house. We always love having Mike DiRocco around these parts. Big 1010XL July 4th week cook-off. Obviously, we're not going to be here on July 4th, so we're going to get it done tomorrow. Looking forward to that. D-Rock, as we're heading into break, I talked about one thing that Shad Khan spoke about that I thought was the most pressure-sensitive comment that he made, and that was about the play calling, okay? That he has an opinion.
Yeah. I got an opinion.
Anybody guess? I mean, does anyone in the right mind think that his opinion is Press Taylor should be calling the plays? I'm going to say no.
I think if you could read between the lines of that, I think that's probably where you would end up with. Yeah.
That he thinks Doug should be calling the plays.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. So, and it's said, but Doug Peterson is empowered. And he says, I don't want to say my preference because then it becomes, well,
the owner wants
this, and either it doesn't work or he forced your hand or whatever. He goes, Doug Peterson is empowered, as he should be. He's a Super Bowl winning coach, right? But what's the end result of all that? And I know you and I were talking on a break, and Doug can say, hey, it doesn't matter who calls the plays. If you don't execute the plays, all that's well and
turnovers,
good.
Penalties,
all that's well and good.
All of that, yes.
What do you think happens?
I think it's status quo. I am not expecting Press Taylor to not be the play caller again this year. I just think that's what's going to happen. Now, and here's the thing.
Okay.
Again, Doug is on the headset. Doug can veto whatever he wants. Doug can throw a little bit of, hey, let's run this. And Press can go, okay. So nobody seemed to have a problem with Press Taylor calling the plays in the second half of 2022.
Nobody really knew.
No, but once we found out, we're like, oh, okay, well, they stunk in the first half.
Because it worked.
Sometimes. And then in the second half, oh, wait a minute, they were lighting it up.
Sometimes.
Yeah, most of the time. And
had they had success?
Second half of the season,
offensively last year at the same level, I don't think anybody would have cared then either.
Right. I didn't hear a ton of complaining, very minimal complaining when they were 8-3 with the play calling either. So I get it. Everything fell apart. Everything's magnified. 100%. Okay. I tend to think I'm whatever. I didn't have a problem with the play calling as much as a lot of people did, because I sit there and I watch Luke Fortner getting shoved back into Trevor's face.
Calvin Ridley dropping balls on his hands.
Ridley dropping balls. Receivers not in the right spot. Okay? Guys, penalties, missed field goals. I think at one point McManus was like one of his last 5.
Yeah.
In that stretch that included the Bengals and the Ravens.
He was really good
until
he wasn't.
Correct. So, but we talked all offseason about, hey, you know what? Riley Patterson doesn't have the big leg. That's why they got McManus. Mm-hmm. So now when it's 3rd and 8 from like the 40, I don't have to press.
I don't have to get the first down.
Exactly. If we get 6-7 yards, great. Then we kick the field goal and we got points. So all that factors into it. The left side of the offensive line, not healthy or not there. Anton Harrison had his issues as a right tackle. Brendan Sheriff hurt all year, essentially, again. So, I mean, there were a lot of factors that go into it. And again, I keep going back to the last 2 plays of that drive when they were on the goal line against Tennessee, okay? And the 3rd down play was a rollout throw to Brenton Strange, okay? So that one, all right, yeah, okay. I'm not really sure I would have, put the
that would have been the
Brenton
guy,
Strange.
right.
Yeah. No, Ingram, whoever else,
sure.
yeah, but not Strange. But they were limited, okay? And if you go look at the 4th down play, and it was going to be a wide run until Trevor decided to ad-lib, which, again, that's on Trevor. That was not a good idea to do. But Luke Fortner's thrown backwards. And here's the other thing. They called that roll-up pass on 3rd down because they had no faith in that offensive line to get 1 yard. It was 3rd and goal from the 1. They had no faith to get 1 yard. Every other NFL team, the team in 2022, you don't think they turn around and hand it to Etienne on 1st down from the 1 or 3rd down and goal from the 1? He's one of your best players. You put the ball in the hand of your best guy. They had no faith. So, yes, the play call, that was a suspect play call, but what does that relate to? It relates to the fact that they could not block up front, especially in the middle of the line. And when it was the 4th down and they were going to get it into one of their best players' hands, they figured, okay, we'll get him to him outside. He's had some success with those plays outside. He's had success bouncing outside too. But it doesn't work if your center's blown up on his back.
Hypothetical, okay? And you probably can't know the answer to this, right? But your opinion, if Doug Peterson's the play caller, does Trevor Lawrence maybe ad-lib a little less? You know what I mean? Does he have more confidence that, hey, this is Doug, this is a Super Bowl winning coach that's sending this in as opposed to a first-time, full-time play caller?
No, because it worked the year before. That stretch out thing worked the year before. I think it worked twice.
We love it when it works, right?
Correct. So, and that was on Trevor. Trevor's done it when Doug was calling plays too. So, no. Now, I think we won't see that play this year at all. I don't think we'll see Trevor ad-lib that play at all again. So I think that message has been sent. Let's put it that way. I would be very surprised if we saw that.
Just to continue on down this path briefly, okay? Some of the feeling was Mike Caldwell, not a super experienced defensive coordinator. By the way, Ryan Nielsen's not a super experienced defensive coordinator.
He has exactly 1 year more experience as a defensive coordinator as Caldwell did.
But I think the feeling is he's more buttoned up. He's got a better what he was able to do.
Put it, yeah.
Right? He's what he was able to do with Atlanta. And I was reading through, it might have been in the piece on Pro Football Network, that he did it without a pass rush, right? They didn't have much of a pass rush, and he was able to create pressure. He was able to create good situations that Doug Peterson, bringing in Ryan Nielsen, can say, you know what? I'm going to be this offensive-minded head coach like a lot of them are. The defense is turned over to this guy. Does any of that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I think his feeling is I don't want to have to worry about that side of the ball anymore. Not worry, but I don't want to have to be on the headset all the time.
Micromanaging.
I want to be able to talk to my guys. I want to be able to talk to Trevor and figure stuff, what's going on. Look, I looked up the numbers. Top 10 in the NFL in passing, 3rd down and red zone defense, 3rd and 3rd down defense, 4th and red zone defense. They doubled their sack total, which he didn't have a great pass rush, but they doubled their sack total from 21 in 22 to 42 in 2023. So he's he's an aggressive play caller. He's a guy that likes to move guys around, figure stuff, try and get them. We always talk about exploiting matchups from the offensive side. He's a guy that likes to find the matchup that he can exploit on the defensive side. And so that's why we're going to see a bunch of guys, especially up front, moving around a little bit. Eric Armstead may be outside, Trayvon inside. Armstead may be inside, Trayvon may be inside as well. So we're going to see a lot of that. I think if Doug doesn't have to worry about that, will he be maybe a little bit more involved on the offensive side of the ball? Yeah, probably. But he has a lot of faith in Press Taylor. For whatever, like it or not, he has a lot of faith in Press Taylor. And if Shad says to him, you need to call plays, I don't want Press Taylor calling plays. If at the end of the year it's not great and he says, you got to fire Press Taylor. I don't know this for sure, okay? I don't. And I'm not saying that Shad's going to do this, but my feeling in my head would be if he gives him that ultimatum, I wouldn't be surprised if Doug was like, oh, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this. Yeah. Look.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
No, and I don't think it will. Look, if Trevor stays healthy, then I think he's in for a pretty big year. And I think the most important signing that this team made in the entire offseason, the most important move, I get adding Davis and Duvernay and drafting Brian Thomas. I get, adding some guys in the secondary. Mitch Morse is the most important signing this team made. And if Mitch Morse plays at the level he did last year, which, quite frankly, was a slightly above average NFL center, although as a run blocker, he was the second best in the league to Jason Kelce, and since Kelce's now out, he's the best returning run blocker in the league. If he plays at that level, stays healthy, then this offense is going to thrive, and they're going to win a bunch of games.
From D-Rock's mouth to Doug Peterson's ears, or whoever needs to hear that. Right. All right, let's take a quick look around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
All right, some headlines from the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys star wide receiver, expected to skip training camp unless he gets a new deal. We talk a lot about guys not being able to have their fines rescinded anymore. You can still have your fines rescinded if you're on your rookie contract, however. So that is one difference. But the Cowboys are facing contract decisions with Dak Prescott. Doesn't seem like anything's imminent there, and they may let that play out. Micah Parsons needs a new deal, and CeeDee Lamb needs a new deal on top of that. So imagine if the Jags had traded for Brandon Ayuk, for instance, right, and had given him $30 million a year. That would be kind of the situation where they paid their quarterback, they paid their star defensive player, and their star pass catcher. It's tough to do all in one off season, and the Cowboys right now are choosing not to do that. That's one to keep an eye on to see how that all plays out. Former number 1 overall pick Jamarcus Russell was an assistant high school coach at his high school alma mater, and apparently was a decent fundraiser as he went to a local business and said, we need $74,000 to help build up the weight room so we can thrive here. He got the guy to write him a check. That's the problem. He got the guy to write him a check, which he deposited in his own account, immediately, apparently, allegedly withdrew $55,000 of it and ghosted the guy. Jamarcus Russell now being accused basically of embezzling. I don't know what the correct word would be, but taking money that was earmarked for high school kids to put in his own pocket and enrich himself. I doubt Jamarcus Russell's had too many lucrative earning opportunities since his NFL career went belly up.
Didn't he make $30+ million?
You would think, but how much did he go through? Right? He strikes me as the kind of guy who probably went through it pretty quickly, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But either way, if you had several million in the bank, I mean, look, people steal things all the time, but are you that inclined? I mean, this is pretty blatant based on the allegation here.
And a relatively stupid way to do it, too.
Right. There's no hiding it.
Correct.
Like he put it in his account. He took it back. He go, oh, no. And then he goes to the guy. Wouldn't give him a receipt. Wouldn't give him anything. They've since fired him. We found out about it. And then finally, not directly NFL related, but Bo Jackson, who, was a Hall of Fame talent, finally got inducted into a professional Hall of Fame. It was the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame. If you are old enough like D-Rock and I to remember Bo Jackson, don't know if you'll ever see quite the same kind of athlete in that size package that he brought to the table with the speed and the power and everything that went with it. Freddie T was not a reasonable facsimile, but Bo was on another planet.
That is a different dude.
I mean,
right
he
there,
was
man.
and then you look at what he was able to do as a baseball player as well. All right, some of your stories from around the National Football League. When we return in a moment, we'll take a look at the Pro Football Network's 5 reasons why the Jags should have reason for optimism to attain another AFC South title. Mike Dempsey, Mike DeRocco, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
If you bleed teal and black, then welcome home. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Intelligent sports talk with an attitude.
She loved Cole. Hey, guy. Sorry.
That is awful.
It's a Jack speech at J1A.
You got me.
1010XL.
I did mumble one word. Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. But I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Hacker here with Matt Hayes. Look, we needed to update this spot again. Why? Because I just cannot stop losing weight with Awaken 180. Now I'm down a staggering 75 pounds in just 15 weeks. Do the math. That's 5 pounds a week every single week.
Attaboy, Hacker. It's tough keeping track of you, but seeing your Awaken 180 transformation is shocking. In a good way. You've dropped the weight of a 7th grader in just 3 months. We're all proud of you. But really, we aren't surprised with your results.
Thanks, man. And like you had told me, I'm doing it without the gym and without meds, just fantastic food and expert coaching. I'm not just losing weight, I'm becoming a new man, and it's all thanks to Awaken 180.
And the success isn't just for us. Everyone who jumps on board sees results. It's 100% effective across the board, from family and friends to our listeners who've taken the plunge.
Don't wait. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. .com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark today through Wednesday. Tonight at 7:05 is Tulsa Welding Appreciation with free tickets for military personnel and dependents. Wednesday is our biggest fireworks show of the year presented by Nimnick's family of dealerships. JackShrimp.com for tickets. That's JackShrimp.com. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Moms and dads looking for some serious summer fun for your kids? Then check out I-9 Sports Flag Football Tournament Series. It'll run through June and July, and you can put a team together and join in on the action. Ages 4 to 14. Go to i9sports.com for all the details. It's happening at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows at their brand new turf facility. If you've got a youth flag football team or want to put one together, get ready for the I-9 Sports Flag Football Tournament Series this summer. Check it out at i9sports.com.
Mia O'Brien.
Fun-loving girl.
On Helmets and Heels from noon to 2.
Likes to laugh. Lives to love. No dull moments tolerated.
Mia's quick hits are driven by Arlington Toyota on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
What's up? I'm Miles.
Hey, and I'm Jara.
And the little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich is how the flavors come together. First, I taste the smoky grilled chicken, then the pepper bacon with that maple bun, added with the sweet heat and the pickles.
I'm really sold on the pickle. It meets you in the middle with the sweetness and the heat.
It's spice-tastic.
Yum-licious.
Flavoristic.
The sandwich of the summer. The Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich.
Order the Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
All right, gang, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Me, myself, I am Beaches Dermatology. Want you to wear the sunscreen, man. It's summertime in the Sunshine State, which is great, but you got to wear the screen. You're going golfing, you're going out boating, you're going to the beach. 4th of July is almost here. When you're packing that bag for the festivities, bring the screen. And by the way, any concerns on your body right now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Barra, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Mike DeRocco, Dylan Denmark here with you. The question today is a blowout right now, and not necessarily the way I would vote, assuming Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker will have the 2 highest sack totals for the Jags in 2024. Who will have the 3rd most? The options we gave you in the poll: Eric Armstead, Trevis Gibson, Devin Lloyd, or someone else, and let us know who you think that someone else may be. Still plenty of time to vote in that. All right, D-Rock, been teasing this piece this morning over at Pro Football Network that came out over the weekend, and it caught my eye because it said, can the Jags win the AFC South? 5 reasons for optimism ahead of NFL training camp, right? Bear with me here. You've seen, whether it's, ESPN or CBS or any of the major outlets, they're like, breakout candidates, top 10 this. You don't see a whole lot of Jaguar representation out there in a lot of these things. Like I saw, believe it or not, top 10 clutch quarterbacks. Have you seen this one?
No.
Number two clutch quarterback in the NFL. Who do you think it is?
Who do I think it is?
No, who do you think that it would be in the article?
Because you're asking me, I'm going to guess like C.J. Stroud.
Exactly. Patrick Mahomes won. C.J. Stroud is now the 2nd most clutch quarterback in the National Football League.
Do they have metrics behind that? Or
I
just
don't know,
ranking?
but did Trevor Lawrence not have a bajillion comeback victories in 2022? Is it based only on what you did down the stretch last year, or what exactly? I'm not sure. Of which, by the way, the last time they met head-to-head, the Jags won. So there is that on top of it. But, yeah, C.J. Stroud, second most clutch quarterback in the NFL.
According to Pro Football Reference, 1 fourth-quarter comeback and 3 game-winning drives last year.
For?
C.J. Stroud.
Okay, what about Trevor?
I'm looking that up right now.
He is looking that up right now as we speak. So, anyway, I just, everything's about the new golden boy, C.J. Stroud. You can't find a list that doesn't. That's just as an example. Trevor nowhere to be found in the top 10 most clutch quarterbacks in the National Football League.
So in the last year, 1 fourth-quarter comeback, 2 game-winning drives for Trevor. So pretty much
one
the
less
same.
game-winning drive.
Right. Pretty much total, yeah.
And I bet if you go back to the year before, those numbers are even more impressive.
3-2.
Yeah, yes.
3 game-winning drives, 3 fourth-quarter comebacks, which they define as leading an offense, must be an offensive scoring drive in the fourth quarter with the team lead, trailing by 1 score, though not necessarily a drive to take the lead. Only games ending in a win or a tie are included.
Okay.
So, whatever, however it works, yeah.
If you just look at the raw numbers, though, in those categories, there's not much difference between the two guys, right?
But, and I wouldn't put Trevor as the number 2 clutch guy either.
I'm not saying I would either. It's just he's not, C.J. Stroud is obviously the it boy.
He's the flavor of the
National
month.
Football League,
the,
right?
The Texans are the flavor of the month.
Absolutely, in many ways, right? So, fine. Okay, let's get back to this. Here are reasons for optimism why the Jags should be considered the team in the AFC South. Starting with number 1, a healthy Trevor Lawrence, right? And I'm sure we've all seen the numbers over at PFF. Daniel Griffiths puts a lot of these out there, and they're citing some of these. You've got 2 categories here. You've got the first 12 games of the season before the injuries accumulated, and you've got the final 4 games that he played. Keeping in mind he didn't play all 17 as Beathard played the one. Expected points added per play in the first 12 games among quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence was 9th in the league, okay? After the injuries accumulated, 22nd in the league, okay? Success rate, success percentage, which I'm not sure exactly what goes into that category. He was 5th in the NFL at over 50%, fell off to 19th as the injuries accumulated. Completion percentage went from 68% down to 60%, and on and on and on. Yards per game, about identical, but he did it on 8 more attempts per game down the stretch, so it took him a lot more effort to reach the same level of success. And the feeling here is, if you give the guy good health, and nothing's guaranteed, that's one big reason. And how much do you agree with that? That if Trevor Lawrence just stays healthy this year, the offense is going to be that much better?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I'm looking at these numbers here. After the San Francisco game, which was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks after the knee injury. The Tennessee game, he was 75% completion, 262, 2 touchdowns, 119 rating. Following week at Houston, winning on the road, 60% completion rate, 364, 1 TD, 1 interception, 90 rating. And then that Cincinnati game, we tend to forget how good he was playing in there. 76% completion, 258, 2 touchdowns, the season best, 125 rating. So,
and he goes down.
He was hitting his stride. And then, boom, the ankle. And the following week at Cleveland, it just,
Not just hitting his stride. It was like if you took the 17-game sample going back to the previous year through then.
Yeah, he was
one of
playing
the top
his best
quarterbacks
football.
in the NFL.
Without question.
All right, so Trevor's health, big factor.
Yes.
New wide receiver core. This is an interesting one, right? Because, the feeling is, Trevor, they want to have him have the ability to take more deep shots, more quick strikes. You've got Brian Thomas Jr., great size, great speed on the outside. Gabe Davis, proven deep threat. I think this one is, at least early in the season, is going to be up for debate because Calvin Ridley is a vet who's been around, and despite the issues he had last year, was still a 1,000-yard, 8-touchdown receiver, right? I would hope that based on the season he had, Zay Jones injured a lot last year. Gabe Davis can easily replicate what Zay Jones gave you. I think the question here for me is, how quickly does Brian Thomas become sort of an alpha in your passing game?
Right. Well, I think the key to that, honestly, is running Brian Thomas by some corners and safeties early in the season and making some throws down the field. I think that will, look, just to show, in college, he had T. Higgins, and he was throwing. I mean, you remember the national championship game against Alabama? There were like 3 or 4 throws where he just threw it up, and T. Higgins was like, mine, and came down, fantastic
Justin
catches.
Ross, who was a phenomenal college player.
Same thing. So I think they want to throw it down the field more, absolutely. And I think with Davis, who's been able to do it with Josh Allen at the Bills, they just have to get Brian Thomas going early. I think even if he catches 3 balls for 60 yards, but they threw him 3 other ones down the field that weren't connected, you know what I mean, that were 30, 40-yard throws, just get defenses thinking, oh, boy, they're going to send this guy.
Got to respect it.
Yeah, you have to respect it. And I do think we'll see Christian Kirk thrive in the middle of the field like he always has, but maybe even more to another degree. Same thing with Evan Ingram, is you got to account for those 2 guys on the edge going deep if you're a defense, and that should open things up. They should get much better matchups on Kirk and Ingram than they even usually get. So, but yeah, they want to throw it down the field. It's a remade receiving core, and it's going to take a while for Brian Thomas to. But who knows? Maybe he catches 8 for 140 and a touchdown in the opener, and then you're like, oh, okay, this offense has really got a chance.
And then Kirk and Ingram are just all that intermediate stuff is so much easier. And a lot of that has to do with health, too. Again, Zay Jones had a really good 2022.
Yes.
And gets hurt fairly early in 2023, right? Calvin Ridley never quite 100% on the same page, had his moments, had his halves even, and then would disappear at times. I think you're going to see some of those struggles with a rookie as talented as Brian Thomas Jr. is. So this one is more like in the hopeful category to me than it's definitely going to be an improvement because I think there'll be times when you look up and like, hey, man, Calvin Ridley's having a 130-yard game for the Tennessee Titans. Of course, didn't really have those games here. He had a few 100-yard games, but he never had that 150-yard breakout, put it all together type performance.
Right.
You mentioned Mitch Morse as the most important addition for this team. They lean into that as well. New trenches addition, not only Morse, but Eric Armstead on the other side, right? Look, running the ball, but also stopping the run and getting penetration from the interior of that defensive line was almost non-existent at times last year.
On the pass rush, it was, and that was because Devon Hamilton had the back infection in camp and was never the same player.
Sure.
Never the same player. They say,
can we
Doug
avoid
Peterson,
that? Like, can we avoid the last second Chris Ivory? You know what I mean? Like we got a plan for this guy. He's going to be a huge part of everything. Oh crap! In the last week, what just happened?
Yeah, that would be ideal
for
the Jags. I mean,
I'm asking
if
kind
you're
of
like,
hypothetically.
hey, how about we avoid this? Yes, but they feel like Devon Hamilton's going to look like he did and play at the level he did in the second half of 2022, which was when they were like, we got to keep this guy around.
And in this piece, they reference if Devon Hamilton can come back strong from an injury-ridden 2023. This is honestly, I feel like one of the most plugged-in pieces from a guy who doesn't cover the team like you or Ship on a daily basis, right? I thought it was well done. Taking Mason Smith in the second round, Jordan Jefferson in the fourth, they should have no shortage of bodies in the defensive line room with a lot of upside, they mentioned. So they're on it, I think. Number 4, new defensive identity. And this is where Ryan Nielsen comes in, right? The biggest difference, an aggressive defense. Will he have better raw material to work with? We think he will than he had in Atlanta. And can he then, where he took Atlanta from the doldrums to, in a lot of cases, a top 10 defense, if he has the same kind of impact with better material here in Jacksonville, look out, potentially.
Yeah, especially against the run. That's where they have to improve significantly. In that 6-game stretch where they were 1-5, they gave up like 45 more yards per game rushing, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but it is. It is a lot per game. And look, we all remember the last game with Derrick Henry, best game of the season in a game when we all knew what the Titans were going to do.
Right.
I mean, he has to make a significant impact. I think he will. It's interesting because people ask about, the secondary. I'm like, I don't know what the secondary is going to look like. I really don't. None of us do, because they're rolling guys into different spots in OTAs, moving guys around. Darnell Savage is a nickel on one play, then he's a safety. Antonio Johnson's a nickel, then he's a safety. Jarian Jones is on the edge, and then he's in the middle. DeAndre Prince he's on the edge, and Jones is the nickel, and the only one I'm pretty 100% sure is going to be a starter is Tyson Campbell. Maybe, and most likely Andre Cisco too.
Just a few of the numbers from what Nielsen did last year. The Falcons went from 26th to 7th defensively in yards per play allowed. They went from 31st in the league to 3rd in third down defense and 25th to 8th in pass defense. And again, Jesse Bates, he's a good player. Really good player, right? Okay, do we not? We've got Josh Allen, we got Trayvon, we got Armstead, we got Foye Oluokun, we've got Tyson Campbell, we've got Andre Cisco. We got a few players here as well. And again, taking the raw material the Falcons had, I would not compare it favorably to what Ryan Nielsen walks into here in Jacksonville. Maybe that's me being a homer, but I honestly feel that way. Final piece, new special teams unit, okay? And this is more, they leaned in just basically into the kicking position and detailed, some of McManus's late season struggles. And, will Cam Little be that guy? Made all his extra point attempts, 129 of them, never missed one in college.
At Arkansas.
Right? 53 out of 64 in field goals. And, Chad Ryder, who we often have had on from NFL.com as a draft analyst, said he's his favorite kicker in the draft. And really, we focus on the accuracy a lot, but he thinks he's got a big leg on top of that he can make some of those, and maybe he won't be asked.
Which is crazy because he's built like this microphone.
Tiny little dude.
He's a skinny dude,
Tiny
man.
little dude. And, on top of that, this is a really well-researched piece because you have Jamal Agnew, who was outstanding when healthy, right? But Devin Duvernay, based on accolades, is an upgrade. He is the all-pro return guy, right, in the National Football League. And they even mentioned Keelan Robinson in here as a pick that was specifically brought in to boost special teams. This is something Tony and I have debated all off season to one degree or another. Honestly, I feel like by week 3, you're going to see the vast majority of teams kicking it through the end zone and just giving it to them at the 30.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because it's going to be fun to watch which teams figure it out first. And I tend to think the Jags are going to be ahead of the curve a little bit because I think Heath Farwell is very, very good at what he does. I'm really excited to watch the Hall of Fame game, which I've never said in my entire life, just to see what the kickoff stuff is, just to see how that works, what it looks like. And maybe they may say, we haven't had enough time to work on it.
Nobody's showing anything in the Hall of Fame game, are they?
How are you lined up? Who's on is it linebackers? Or do you have more offensive or defensive linemen now out there than you did? I'm really eager to see how that's going to look. But again, you're right. They may just be like, we didn't have enough time to work on a camp through the end zone. We'll see what happens.
Or, and at PFT, which is, not exactly a source anybody wants to hear from these days for understandable reasons, it did make the point that maybe a couple of teams do have to figure it out early. And some of them, though, are going to sit back and go, okay, this is what's working, this is what's not. And it might have made a huge difference if the original intent of the rule was if you kick it through the end zone, it's at the 35-yard line. That's the rule that they stole, and they said, no, that's too much, the 30.
Which is the same place it is now on a kickoff, touchback, on a kickoff.
25.
Oh, 25.
You're right.
My bad.
So it's 5 yards more.
It's 5, but it's not 35. Yeah.
It's not 10 yards more. I do wonder, and look, that game you blow in week 1 or 2, because you didn't have it figured out, that counts as much as the game you win or lose in November or December, So, I wonder if teams don't come out a little bit conservative unless maybe they feel like they've got it.
There's going to be some teams that think they have it and are going to be really aggressive with it. I think the smart play, obviously, is what you said. We'll just kind of, do our thing. If you have the kicker that can consistently get it through the end zone, then maybe the first 4 or 5 weeks you're kind of doing that, seeing how things shake out. But the problem is, for the Jags, you've got Devin Duvernay. You drafted Keelan Robinson. I mean, if Duvernay's not touching the ball on kickoffs, is that a wasted signing?
Well, because you can't control whether he's touching it on kickoffs.
But you want to get him the ball sometime, right?
Sure you do.
So does that increase his role on offense?
Maybe it does, but he also, punt returns are still a big part of the game, and can flip the field. And look, I'd rather have an all-pro return man than not have an all-pro return man. I don't know what his role is going to be on offense. I really don't.
I don't either. And like Keelan Robinson's apparently a really good receiver out of the backfield.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering, where does he fit in on offense as well?
Right. If he does, I think most people, I'll speak for myself, I looked at that as almost a purely special teams-oriented draft pick.
Yes.
If he can contribute beyond that, who knows? That may be a different story altogether. All right, let's take our final time out here. We'll come back with Mike DiRocco here on Jaguars Today and take a look at today's question of the day and debate the best options the Jags may have for a third pass rusher on this football team. This is Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Mike DiRocco, Dylan Denmark here with you on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Looking for the win. Scobie sweeps the leg. 59 yards away. He's got it. Jacksonville wins.
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
It's time to fire up your grill, shoot off some fireworks, and launch one of the biggest sales in the history of the United States. It's our independent sale happening right now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. Whether you drive a car, a truck, or an EV, everyone is welcome to celebrate our independent sale with the lowest prices, largest inventory, and the most love for our country. Come celebrate with Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. You don't want to miss this.
Beard's Diamonds' incredible Christmas in July sale is back.
Everything store-wide is on sale up to an unbelievable 40% off.
But it's only happening till July 31st.
Don't shop anywhere until you shop Beard's Diamonds.
At the St. John's Town Center.
What's more American than grilling out for the 4th of July? Check out southernsteerbutcher.com or our social media channels for all of our 4th of July specials running June 29th through July 7th.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Prosser here. As you may or may not know by now, I did the research and decided to go with Jack's Concrete Coatings for my garage floor. OMG, as the kids would say. I can't begin to tell you how good it looks, how happy we are. We brag on it anytime someone walks in the garage. They had the job finished in one day with a lifetime warranty. That's right. As the certified Pintech dealer for North Florida, the only company offering pure polyurea, I can't wait to do my patio deck next. Call 862-2000. That's the number, 862-2000, or jacksconcretecoatings.com.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss your chance to see teams from the biggest league in the world in Jacksonville as they compete for the Stateside Cup. Be there when Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham take the pitch July 27th at Everbank Stadium, home of the Jaguars. With the series trophy on the line, competition will be fierce. Tickets on sale now for as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right. Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit dreamfindershomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe you got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Great, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com. NavyMutual.com.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Pick it here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of About 9. Visit About 9 Associates today and experience the difference. About 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Feel like McManus should be here right now, right?
Yeah,
He's singing along.
And I meant to thank Dylan earlier for the Journey bumper music coming in. Going to be at that concert next week.
Oh,
Journey,
are you?
Def Leppard, Cheap Trick down in Orlando.
Okay.
I'm really excited.
With the young guy who took over for Steve Perry.
Yeah.
Right? He does an excellent job.
If you close your eyes, you cannot tell a difference.
Boy, Steve Perry was good, though. Man.
He really was.
I mean, Steve Perry is one of the great voices of all time.
And they found this guy because he was singing Journey tunes on YouTube.
On YouTube.
And they're like, hey.
Well, they came here at Daly's place with Asia. Right? You want to talk about Blast from the Past tour,
gosh,
right?
Asia.
And I took the wife, and we went and saw it, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, he's apparently like
Can't
all
think,
over
I
the
don't know.
stage.
I couldn't tell you. He is like
Arniel Pineda, I think.
something like that, right?
Yeah, he's Filipino.
Super ball of energy. Yeah,
Yes.
he is like just flying around.
Right, and the rest of the guys are in their 70s.
Yeah, but who
They're
cares? Look, you go. You want to hear the tunes that
Correct.
you're not looking for a new.
No,
new
just
B-side.
play the hits,
just
baby.
play the hits. That's all
Yeah.
we want. That's all we want. And they delivered in a good way. Well, good for you. When's that coming up?
It's the 10th, July 10th.
Okay, so what's the staycation? How long's the staycation extend for
I'm
D-Rock?
gone for the next 3 weeks. I come back.
3 weeks?
Yeah, I come back the 22nd, which is the week camp comes back. I'm on the same schedule as the players right now. You ain't going to see me at the stadium
not bad,
for another
brother.
3 weeks.
That's not bad. Look, if you do get out on the course, I need to drag my butt back out there.
Okay.
I feel like I've now gotten to the point where I've used it as an excuse to be a hermit, and I need to get back out. Although, damn, it's hot out there.
Oh.
Like, I don't know what I was doing there for a while. Hit a large bucket every day. Like, Jeff went through this. They did the drill hole-in-one challenge out at the yards last week.
Okay.
And I don't know how many he ended up hitting, like 80 balls or whatever. Like, bro, I was doing that every day. Every day at 1 p.m, and then I'd go for like a 6-mile walk around the neighborhood, right? And on top of everything I was doing with Awaken 180, I was in I could just go all day, cardiovascular all day long. So I need to get back with that. The weight's fantastic, and that is the beauty. Awaken 180 promises you can lose the weight, keep it off without exercise. It's true. I mean, I'm in, weight-wise, I'm like
you're a string bean.
I'm like early first or second year of college weight right now. So that's pretty good for me. Anywho, all that aside. All right, so enjoy your staycation coming. I got one coming up too.
Woohoo!
Not quite as luxurious
extensive?
as that. Not quite as extensive. And that's all I'm about right now, staycation. But Tony's going to be back. Tony Smith be back on Friday. I will not. And then I'll be gone all next week. And then after that, it's basically locked in until the bye week at the very least.
Oh, the bye week.
The bye week. It's a beautiful thing. I saved my last couple of vacation days for I've been doing this the last few years. The Monday, Friday around the weekend the Jags don't play,
It's the weekend before Thanksgiving, right? It's crazy.
It's going to be
late. Yeah, week 12. It's the latest bye week in franchise history.
Maybe I'll do a Thursday, Friday then, because it'll only be a 3-day work week the following week. Anyway, I'll break it up somehow or other. Won't matter. Although I'm getting ready just as I come off staycation. going back to 5 days a week on Sirius XM. Because like this time of year, it's like one day a week. It's like child's play. Like I sit at the house. I do a show on Saturday afternoon. We talk a little fantasy football. I got a fantasy draft coming up at 1 o'clock today, as a matter of fact.
What number is that?
In terms of like a head-to-head league where you actually have to set a lineup, this is like my second one of the year, but I got to be pushing 200 on the set it and forget it kind, where you draft and you're
best
done.
Ball.
Yeah, best ball. Right. Not everybody is into best ball, but yeah, you draft, and once you draft your team, you're done. And that's more something to occupy myself during the off season. So anyway, D-Rock, let's take a look at today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. And Dylan, if you'd be so kind to set us up for a 10-10 take.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
I am nothing if not a sharer. Okay, so I'd like to share the 10-10 take with you here, D-Rock. I am, look, if you want to vote for Eric Armstead, I don't think it's unreasonable to vote for Eric Armstead. I'm just surprised that 7 out of 10 are voting for Eric Armstead in this category, assuming Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker will have the 2 highest sack totals for the Jags this year. Who will have the 3rd most? Understanding that one of the times we ran this poll last offseason, Yasir Abdullah won it. So it's not necessarily
there weren't a whole heck
predicted.
of a lot of guys to choose from last year either.
This is true. Okay, this year you have Travis Gibson, who's kind of like this year's version of Arden Key, who we didn't have last year. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yes.
Right, kind of a designated edge rusher, had an 8-sack season a couple of years ago, so he's had some history. Eric Armstead is a really good player, and he does create penetration. He did have 5 sacks, which is a good number for a defensive tackle last year, but he also had none in the 9 games the previous season. To me, Armstead's more of a create it for other guys, and yeah, he'll get his share because now you got a 17-sack guy and a 10-sack guy, both coming off the edge. Who are you double teaming on this Jags pass rush right now? Obviously, it starts with Josh Allen, but the question this is asking is kind of who takes advantage. And then Devin Lloyd, who I feel like a lot of fans have been waiting for him to be utilized in this capacity, or is it somebody else? Where does your vote go, Mike Duraco?
Yeah, I'll probably be on the Travis Gibson train there, only because I know that there's going to be Josh, Eric Armstead, and Trayvon Walker.
On the field
at the same time.
Most times. There'll be an occasion here or there.
Yeah, but they'll, on a 3rd down and 8, that would be the expectation, and with Armstead and Trayvon Walker rushing from the inside. So now you're worried, and where does the quarterback roll if there's a problem there? Or he's going to try from Josh Allen. Ta-da! So, look, I don't think the number's going to be like 12.
No, but like a 6.
6 to 7 is where I would put it in my head. Okay. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's Eric Armstead either. It wouldn't. Especially if they put Armstead outside every once in a while and let Trayvon wreak havoc in the middle or wreak havoc in the middle.
I think wreck is good.
Wreck, whatever it is. I don't know.
Either one.
Either way.
We'll accept
I just have to write it, and if the line underneath it is red, I change it.
I don't mind. I don't think it's absurd to say that it's going to be Eric Armstead.
No, not at all.
Again, I'm surprised that 7 out of 10 feel that way. I'd actually vote Devin Lloyd here. And the reason being, granted, he's not going to necessarily line up in that spot like Travis Gibson, but he's going to be on the field when healthy 95% of the snaps, right? So he's going to have just opportunities. You don't have to get all your sacks on 3rd and 8, right?
No.
And when you talk about schematics, which you did earlier, you often think about the offense scheming up the defense. Can Ryan Nielsen scheme up Devin Lloyd to cut him loose on some blitzes and some opportunities that he was successful at Utah, you know, and tap into that natural ability?
And if they can kind of take the uncertainty away in his mind sometimes, that should help as well.
Just go.
Yes.
Right?
Your job is get him. That's it on this play.
Dylan, where'd you vote?
I'm going to go Gibson. I don't think Eric Armstead, if you look at the last 2 years, he hasn't played as much. So I would go Gibson if I had to put $100 on it.
All right. Well, now we got a $100 bet. So we'll see how it works out. Eric Armstead pulling in 70% of the vote. Devin Lloyd just under 18% of the vote. Travis Gibson getting 9.5%. And then Some others that were mentioned include Roy Robertson-Harris, Devon Hamilton, Mason Smith. Basically those guys, only less than 3% on the others. So, Dylan, why don't we wrap this bad boy up?
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, in my book, the highlight of the day is the fact that D-Rock got to spend a couple of hours in studio. We got to spend it with Mike DiRocco of ESPN. Well-deserved staycation coming your way. Look forward to getting back to the rotation.
That is the listeners' high point of the day, too.
It may be 1010XL's high point of the day overall,
without question.
Right?
Without question.
But in all seriousness, I'm heartened to see a national story going, hey, here are a bunch of reasons why the Jags may improve this year.
A national story not written by me.
Not written by you or
not
written by somebody who's embedded with the team on a 24-hour-a-day basis. And there's nothing wrong. Like you do a great job. Ship does a great job. Demetrius locally does a great job. I think our folks at 1010XL, like Mia and Hayes, do a fantastic job as well. But you guys are on it every single day. And there's actually you go check it out at Pro Football Network, very deeply detailed
I agree
piece.
With everything they have on that.
Right, and
everything.
Like they went deep cuts. Like, hey, don't forget this. Don't forget Devon Hamilton. How many people are writing that from a national perspective? So it's kind of cool to see out there, and good just kind of to go over the offseason as it was. Honestly, other than getting the team, the most impactful offseason in Jacksonville Jaguar history, provided that the owners rubber stamp or pass the vote on the stadium.
I mean, when you factor in the Josh contract, the Trevor contract.
Boye got a contract.
And the fact that giving Trevor's a contract is saying we have a franchise quarterback. That's what the Jags are saying. We have a franchise quarterback. And they've not been able to say that since the days of Mark Brunell.
D-Rock, great to see you. We got to wrap it up on that.
Thank you.
Have a great few weeks doing whatever you're going to do.
We'll try and get you out in the golf course.
Enjoy. It probably wouldn't take a whole lot of arm twisting to do, but hopefully I'll be able to knock it around out there with you sooner rather than later. Dylan, great job as always. Tomorrow is the great 1010XL July 4th cook-off. Yes, it'll be July 2nd, but we're not coming in on the holiday, and neither should you. So looking forward to that. Doom is going to represent Jaguars Today very well. I have no doubt about that. That's tomorrow. Thanks to Mike DiRocco. Thanks to Dylan Denmark. I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around. Helmets and Heels is coming your way next right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
I am so happy right now for Duval County.
This is